Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus channel. Aircraft hangars are closed structures primarily used to protect aircraft from the weather and direct sunlight, and for maintenance, manufacture, repair, and assembly of the aircraft. While aircraft hangars are built to counter any emergency, the hazards of maintenance hangars can be fairly obvious. Aircraft hangars contain thousands of gallons of fuel as well as explosive ordnance, and there's always a risk that these hangars can catch fire, damaging or destroying aircraft worth billions of dollars. Although the number of hangar fires is low, the severity of the loss is relatively high. The United States military uses a unique fire suppression technology that uses a mixture of water and foaming agents to extinguish hangar fires. The foam fire suppression systems are quite similar to a traditional sprinkler system, but their function is very different. When the system is triggered, the water is pushed through a network of pipes where it is mixed with a foaming agent. The mixture is then released through nozzles installed on the ceiling of the hangar base. After making contact with the surface, the foam expands, resulting in the suppression of fire. The foam fire suppression systems installed in the U.S. military's certified hangar base are capable of covering 90% of the entire hangar floor with at least 3 feet of foam in 4 minutes. If a hangar bay is incapable of hitting these metrics in terms of speed and extinguishing efficiency, it may have to reinstall or replace systems entirely. The foam fire suppression systems are highly effective in extinguishing blazes within a hangar bay. However, these systems can sometimes trigger accidentally. The U.S. military learned this quite well back in 2014 when the fire suppression system was triggered during a routine alarm test at the National Guard Station in Tulsa, Oklahoma. As a result, the blanket of foam spread both inside and outside the hangar bay, covering 3 Black Hawk helicopters parked outside. The primary issue with foam fire suppression systems is that they produce thick bubbles to suppress fires in the hangars, ultimately reducing visibility and making it nearly impossible to rescue personnel who may be trapped inside. A team of firefighters from the Edwards Fire and Emergency Services conducted a search and rescue training session at Edwards Air Force Base, California. The foam hit the ground and expanded inside the hangar, hiding the dummy in a cloud of foam. The firefighters used their hoses to carve through the foam, allowing them to enter the hangar. At first, it was difficult for the team to find the dummy stuck within a vast blanket of foam, but eventually, they located it and pulled it out of the hangar. A foam fire suppression system is a new invention that uses a mixture of chemicals to produce foam, which is why using it offshore is hazardous. In November 2019, the scientists at the Naval Research Lab performed in-depth research to develop a type of foam that could suppress fire, both onshore and offshore, while containing fewer hazardous chemicals. During the research, the chemical engineers tested different fire suppressants to find the best possible option for the ships sailing in the ocean. Modern naval vessels are advanced warships that carry thousands of pounds of bombs and missiles. In addition, the aircraft carriers have several gallons of jet fuel and up to 75 aircraft aboard. Although an enemy attack might be an evident threat at sea, fire breaking out could be far more devastating. The main issue is that the flammable and explosive material aboard the aircraft carrier can destroy everything around it if it catches fire. Secondly, the naval ships are hundreds of miles from the ground base, and it might take hours, or in some cases, days for assistance to arrive. So the crew has to fight fire on its own. These concerns were realized by the unfortunate incident of the USS Forrestal almost sinking due to the fire breaking out massively. This was during the Vietnam War, when the ship was preparing to attack, and a rocket accidentally launched from one of its own F-4 Phantom fighter jets, hitting a parked A-4 Skyhawk jet. Fuel from the Skyhawk spilled out and caught fire. The fire spread to nearby planes and denoted a 1,000-pound bomb that killed many sailors on board. A chain reaction of explosions occurred and had half the ship on fire. It took a full day to contain the fire zones. However, this event caused several holes in the flight deck and had half the ship covered with flames. Hundreds of sailors were seriously injured, and 134 more lost their lives in this devastating fire. "20 planes were destroyed, and it was said to be the worst loss of life on a U.S. Navy ship since World War II. To prevent even a glimpse of this event from reoccurring, measures today are strictly and ardently followed, from arming the aircraft in designated zones before takeoff to having fire prevention systems in place. The backbone of the United States Navy is its fleet of 11 astounding aircraft carriers. Most of them are equipped with a countermeasure washdown system, CWS, which consists of a series of sprinklers installed into the flight deck. These sprinklers are engaged in the event of a fire or a severe accident on the flight deck, or to deal with any biological or chemical warfare attacks. The CWS operations on the flight deck require attention to detail. The crew members use on-deck hoses to cover the tower and areas the sprinkler system cannot simply reach. The hoses are attached to pumps that use seawater. Therefore, there is no limit to the amount of water used during these operations. After performing the CWS operations, the crew uses wipers to wipe down water from the deck of the aircraft carrier back into the ocean. Fires don't break out on aircraft carriers very often. However, every now and then, there is news of outbreaks of cases of flu, colds, neuroviruses, and other illnesses on these ships. An aircraft carrier carries hundreds or even thousands of crew members who eat, sleep, and work. Therefore, cleaning and sanitation are taken very seriously. In fact, crew members clean the interior of the aircraft carrier, including quarters, restrooms, and offices, several times a day with a bleach concoction. Even a minor negligence on the crew's part can lead to massive destruction. On July 12, 2020, a fire started on the lower vehicle storage deck of the USS Bonhomme Richard amphibious assault ship while it was undergoing maintenance at the Naval Base San Diego. The firefighters put out the fire in 4 days with the help of boats, helicopters, and land-based efforts. There were no casualties, but the fire injured at least 63 sailors and civilians. The cause of the fire was investigated, and a junior sailor was charged with arson, but was acquitted at trial. The repairs to the ship could have taken 7 years and a cost up to $4 billion. So the U.S. Navy decommissioned it and sold it for scrap. Fires are the biggest threat to any naval vessel at sea, which is why every crew member is taught basic firefighting skills. The Navy vessels of the likes of USS George H.W. Bush carry out drills to ensure all personnel know how to react if a fire breaks out in any part of the ship. One of the main focuses of these drills is communication among the crew members as they navigate their way toward the fire on the ship. Hoses, firefighting equipment, and protective suits are placed at various points around the ship. Navy ships can sometimes have a team of trained firefighters on board to lead the way in any emergency. But even the best trained can fall short against shipboard fires. Teaching firefighting skills to Navy personnel and having countermeasures like fire alarms, hoses, and sprinklers on board the Navy vessels is extremely important. This reduces the risk of damage to Navy vessels. Moreover, countermeasures like the foam fire suppression systems in aircraft hangars minimize damage to infrastructure and military assets while saving lives. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.